It's working now. I don't know what happened, guys. We did about 6 minutes of the show. It was probably the best we've ever done in our lives, and we weren't live. Nick finally showed us his wife. She is beautiful, Nick, and I greatly appreciate her in the bikini. So thank you for that. Carmine, how are you, my friend? One of the best guys around. You had a birthday party yesterday in your house.
Yes, it was the wife's birthday, celebrating her 30th once again. We'll go with that. But yeah, no, I gave her the choice. I would cook anything she wanted, but she actually wanted some Japanese food. So we ordered sushi from a really great restaurant up here. Got that, opened up a nice bottle of wine, Duckhorn, that my brother dropped off a few bottles of. For her birthday, and then we had a surprise visit by yours truly and Vivian, who did a curbside drop-off. You dropped off some cannoli and a very nice bottle of red. Josh is the name of the wine. I told the wife this morning, I can't believe we killed 2 bottles of wine last night, but she reminded me that it was actually me that killed 2 bottles of wine, and she had just a glass. So. But we appreciate it very much. That was very thoughtful of you, Prez. Thanks to you and Viv.
Hey, brother. Always a pleasure. Guys, it's stoppage time. We're talking soccer and a whole lot of it. We're going to also talk a little bit of golf. Nick Borrman is a scratch golfer. He is a card-carrying member of the PGA. He knows golf like I know sex unbelievably well. I just got a text right now from Rick Alex. Stop with the sex stuff. Welcome to the chat room, everybody. David, Jordan, Laguina, Duff, Tra, T-R-A, Tra. Brian Watson, welcome, brother. Great to have you. We had a request for stoppage time, the theme song. Nick, you want to give it a go?
To give it a sing? You want me to go ahead?
Yeah.
All right. Stoppage time. It's time for some goals and some red cards at the end of the game.
Wow, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
On the fly. I didn't know what else.
Yeah, dude, that was impressive, man. Yes, Nick.
Very well.
So, brother, Johnny sent me a tweet about you doing some kind of shot on the golf course that then ESPN retweeted. Fill us in, dude.
Yeah, that was just a bunch of us being some idiots, and we had 5 of us. We were trying to figure out our foursome, and we were playing a little game of who's the odd guy out. So we spun the bottle on the ground. We had 5 of us in a circle around the bottle, spun it on the ground, and whoever got the bottle landed on was the one that would pick up the club and hit the ball at the other 4 guys as they tried to run away. So it was a lot of fun. We took some good pelts off the back. I luckily did not get hit. But I did put some damage on. I hit one of my buddies right in between the shoulder blades. He's got a nice little welt there today. So it was a lot of fun, and it was cool that I got it picked up. It's got quite a few views between ESPN and a couple other Instagram accounts, so it's pretty neat.
That's great, man. We got to golf together. Guys, I just want to show you all. When I said Rick Alec texted me, stop with the sex, I hadn't even looked at my phone. Look at the actual wording. It actually says stop with the sex. Okay, no more. No more at all. Nick, you're golfing a lot, right?
Yes. Yeah, nothing else to do right now. Nothing else still open yet. So trying to get out and play a couple days a week, as much as I can while, the wife lets me get away from her and the baby. But yeah, a couple days a week. Right?
Rick Alec and I were talking on Meet the Experts a couple of weeks ago when I interviewed Rick. We went golfing at a PGA course in Las Vegas called Bears Best. We went as a twosome. They added a third. The guy shot a 59.
On 9 holes?
No.
He didn't shoot.
He shot a 59. Rick and I. Well, if he wasn't around, I'd use a sex analogy, but I can't. So we'll just say we witnessed greatness. It was truly one of the most unbelievable things we've ever seen. He was actually, I think, either an accountant or a physiotherapist, like he was a professional, but he was a semi-pro golfer, and he shot a 59. And Nick, he parred the last 9 holes. So can you imagine that front 9?
Yeah, that's like a 24.
It was the most ridiculous thing we've ever seen in our lives. Boys, lots to talk about. I just want to let everybody know we're going back to back to back today. Right now, you're watching Stoppage Time at 2 p.m. Eastern. We are launching our first ever NASCAR video. The great Andy Lang will be joining me. We'll be discussing how to bet NASCAR and also the upcoming race for this weekend. So make sure to check that out at 2 o'clock. At 3 p.m. Eastern, we have Minty, Kelly, and Gianni straight from the strip. They'll be talking a whole lot of UFC. There's fights tonight, and in case you want more UFC, Kyle and Minty will be doing a 1 p.m. show Eastern tomorrow to look at the next card of fights. Guys, we're going to talk about the South Korean Soccer League. Carm, outstanding weekend for you. We're going to recap the Nicaraguan Soccer League. We're going to look at European soccer all around with a deep focus on the Bunda. We're going to give out some free picks. We're going to do a European update. And we're going to start all of that right after each of you tell us how your weekend went, what type of picks you have up for the customers over the next few days, and how you have been doing in soccer.
Carmine, I'll go ahead.
Yeah, that was bad hosting right there. Bad hosting.
Weekend was very good for me. 2-2 on Saturday, and then 6-1 on Sunday.
Wow.
I did not. I mentioned last week I wasn't. I was looking at the South Korean League. Wasn't expecting to do a lot. I ended up releasing 3 plays there as well, and went 3-0. And Carm, I won't spoil his number, but it was 4-0. So pretty dang good showing in that league in the first week for both of us. And Belarus on Sunday really came through, including the free play winner, which we gave out on Friday. So that was nice. So it was a great weekend. This upcoming week, we got $2 best bet still up going on Saturday. And then I have a side and total on another play up right now. And that's just in the Bundesliga. So I'll probably get a few more plays up in both Belarus and South Korea by today or tomorrow. So right now a couple of them are up, but I'll have some more as we go throughout the week.
So you're on a 6-1 soccer run. Carm 4-0 in South Korea. Congratulations. What's going on with you and your card?
Yeah, it was a pretty good weekend. As Nick mentioned, I had 6 plays in total. It went 4-1-1. There was one push in one of the final totals, and it was good all around. The free play that I gave out was also one of my client plays, which was in South Korea. It was Ulsan Hyundai, and they won that game. I think it was 4-0 was the final. And I actually watched that game on Bet365. I know it was a late night game, but I wanted to see because I have a futures bet on that team at plus 250, and they look pretty good. They have a nice fluid attack. Now I haven't watched a lot of games in South Korea, but from what I saw there, and I also wanted to see what empty stadium soccer feels like, even if it's in Korea. They piped in crowd noise, so it was actually pretty entertaining to say the least. And I think it's something that some of these other teams that are going to go empty stadiums could stand to learn from.
So, Karma, I didn't watch it, and I haven't watched it as sports with empty stadiums other than the UFC card on Saturday night, which I thought was sensational, and I made a shit ton of money. Plus, I gave everybody the G-Man plus 210 on a TKO. Prez knows his stuff. My question to you, Carm, is: are they covering the stands, or are the stands just available to the viewing public?
Well, what they're doing is, and I know that some stadiums or some teams are doing this. I think, and Nick might be able to chime in on this, but I think like there's one team, Borussia Monchengladbach, where their fans have purchased and donated like cardboard cutouts of fans,
right?
And some of them will have that. As far as I think the viewpoints for these games being televised will show more the field and less of the stands. But some of that sideline play, you're just going to see it. as far as like the stadiums go. As far as playing in empty stadiums, if we're going to that part of the discussion now, there is an effect, I believe, but I initially for the first 1 to 2 weeks, I'm taking the approach that I'm playing these teams based on the data that we have and not factoring in whether they're fans in the stands or not. But Germany is a league that relies that has such fan interaction. If you see a game in Dortmund, it's unbelievable that the fans, the flags. It's not like watching an EPL game or a Serie A game or even a League One game. The fans are part of the experience in these stadiums. It's a very fan-friendly type of thing. So we'll see what that has. I'd love to see them pipe in some sound, some fan sound. Nick?
Yeah, hey, I'm the host. I think you've covered that topic good enough. We don't need to hear Nick's opinion on stands.
Yes, we do.
Let's get to the show, boys. Broken Mechanic, how are you, my friend? David, Manishma, Chris from Wagertalk, always on. I sent him the script I wrote last night. Jordan Kane said Pohang was a steal, 6-figure. Matt, he liked Ulsan Hyundai. I think he probably bought that from you, Carm, and won. And Brian Watson shouts you out, Nick. He got your $2 play. Boys, we spoke South Korea. Fill us in on what happened in Nicaragua.
Well, the result, I gave out a free winner on the result with over 2, which we expected to happen once Mastelli opened the scoring as they needed to score. The final result, I think, surprised both Carm and I as they came in and won 3-1. Went up 3-0, so the game 3-0 rather. So the game was over pretty quickly. But it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. They were the better team. I mean, I was texting Carm as the game started. I mean, the first 15, 20 minutes into the game, I said, we're done. I was like, I see Managua with no chance right now. They had no life. Estelli dominated the game. They controlled the shots. They controlled the ball. So I mean, it was clear to me that right off the bat, they were probably not going to win that game unless something lucky happened. It didn't. But I was glad that the over hit, and it was a fun league. I don't know if we'll be watching it next year as it gets back into action with everything else going on, but it was fun to cover, and I'm just happy I made a little money along the way this season.
Mr. Bianco?
Yeah, no, same here. And I echo his thoughts. 10, 15 minutes in, you're watching this game, and it's completely one-sided, and you can even see it in the live wagering odds. The live wagering odds. 15 minutes in had Managua, who were about minus 120 going in. They were like plus 280, and that was like with the score at 0 still. So it was one of those ones, completely one-sided, and which was unexpected given the way that first game went, where it was the other way around. Managua completely dominated most of the game. So, but yeah, all in all, it was a profitable season for both of us and for our clients. So we will now move on. We'll continue with South Korea and Germany.
Yeah, well, real quick, Nick, you still looking at Belarus?
Yes.
So how you doing there?
I had a great weekend. Belarus on what was it, Sunday, when I went 6-1. It was 4-1 for the Belarus place. So overall, really doing well in Belarus. I'm going to continue to play it. The numbers have been very good so far, and everything has seemed to be working out. So I just started looking at those last night. I didn't put out anything yet, but by tonight and tomorrow, I'll definitely have a couple plays up. But yeah, I mean, I can't. The way it's been working out so far, I can't really justify putting it to the side. So I'm happy with it. I'm going to keep looking at it, and I'm excited for it. So I'll definitely have a free play up for Belarus when we do our show on Friday. But today I'll have them. We'll talk on Germany for once today. But yeah, I'm still going to like it, Belarus, and we'll keep delivering some winners.
Guys, make sure to watch Stoppage Time on Friday. Nick Borrman, Carmine Bianco, and we'll have Kevin Dolan with us. Abel, congratulations on your 5-team round robin hit. Way to go, my friend. Carm, let's get into Bunda. Restarts on Saturday morning. Let's start with how you're going to approach finding winners in this league in this time period?
Yeah, the biggest thing is because teams haven't been allowed to, full on practices right from the get go, and it was individual training. But Germany sort of got it right, and or at least got ahead of everyone else with this, and had them out there training, and then obviously smaller groups before they could go sort of full group before the restart of the season started. Initially, for the first 2 to 3 games, I'm not going to factor in the empty stadiums. I'm going off of my team rankings and how they play out. But the one thing that is going to remain the same for me is, because I do this in every league when there's about 10 games left in the season, is I map out the rest of the season. And I've been mapping out. The Bundesliga was one of the first ones I mapped out. And by mapping out, this is what I mean is every year, there's value in the last 10 weeks of the season if you can find it. And it's searching for it, doing the homework. Look at teams that are looking to avoid relegation. Last 5 years in Bundesliga, these are the totals you needed, point totals, in order to survive. 29 points, 34, 37, 37, and 35. So you've got to look at teams, especially in those last 5 games of the season, where even a single point factors in to saving them, and if it benefits both teams, this is where I don't actually look at taking a side. I look at taking the total and look at taking unders if you can get good enough value in it, because they're just not going, for lack of a better word or phrase, balls to the wall to run up a score. If a team does score, they're going to sit on that lead. Both teams would be more than happy of pulling late in the game. An Italy-Mexico thing, and I talked to Nick about this before the show. Italy and Mexico, I think it was in a group stage game of the World Cup. They literally stood at midfield for the last 7-8 minutes, kicking the ball back, and neither team wanted to score.
Yeah, the sportsmanship in soccer is at a very high level. Between these guys diving around the ground, between the magic sponge, now they just hit the ball back and forth. It's impressive stuff.
Yeah. It's what we expect in I call it football, but we'll call it soccer in North America. It's what it is, Lawrence. A typical game in the EPL, the ball is actually in play about 59 to 61 minutes. The rest of the time, the ball is not in play. It's a 90-minute game where 2/3 of it are played on the field, and the other third of a game is balls out of play, injuries on the field. So you always have to factor ball in play into the higher number for the ball in play, the better shot you have of winning a total. Sometimes I feel, but anyways, mapping out the schedule for me, finding spots where both teams benefit from a draw and 1 point, and I'll take unders in that, and that's why I think I've done so well with unders at Wagertalk, is because I'll map out every league's last 10 games.
Nick, how are you going to attack the Bunda? Lots of big favorites in week 1.
Well, the top couple teams, as you bring that up, are just so much ahead of the rest of the league that you see that. And Bayern is a classic example of
They have a Canadian.
Yeah. One of the first things I'll do is look at their line and total, and look at both the dog and the unders generally. It doesn't mean I'm always playing that, but I always look there first, because they're a team most people have heard of. They're one of the world's best, and like in any sport, you get the best team on the field against even a mediocre team. They're going to be overinflated in the line generally, because the betting public's going to look for them to score. Oh, they can score 4 goals. Oh, they can score 5 goals themselves, and you're going to see big lines and big totals. And a lot of the times, the value is on the dog or the under. Like I said, I'm not going to always take it, but that's kind of where I look. At first, it is scary. I will always say it whenever I do one of their totals on an under or I go against them. It's hard to even watch, especially that first half. I'm like, oh god, because even when they don't cover, they still are controlling the game, and you're just hoping their shots aren't quite on. So it's very rare that they actually get outplayed. But anyway, to touch on what Carm was mentioning earlier about no fans in the stands, there was about 10 days or so, maybe 2 weeks before soccer was shut down, that there were empty stadiums going around in a couple different leagues, including the Champions League. And my approach during then was, well, listen, I don't have any other data to go off of. It was just like Carm said, I used the numbers and the data that I had, and the results were still there. So until we see something different, I think it's got to be best played with use what you know, go with what you know, maybe be a little more cautious. Maybe don't play every single one that you wanted to, or maybe a little bit less. But I can't really factor that in right now as far as, how did the stands or no fans in the stands affect it. Obviously, you would think the home team loses some of their advantage without their fans. But, again, we'll see. Time will tell. And one last thing I'll touch on for the end of the season that Carm mentioned was true about, relegation battles and looking at unders when you got teams that want a point. It's a similar battle both in the top 4 to get the Champions League's berth, and the top 6 this year for Europa League. So you'll have teams right there in the middle of the table or towards the top that, they have no chance to win the league and they have no chance to be relegated, but they still have something viable to play for, while you might have another side sitting down safely above relegation, but 10 points back of being in a Europe berth, and you can see where the desire to win is going to come from. So it's another little area in the middle of the table that does present value, or at least teams with a reason to be going balls to the wall, as Carm put it, to win their match. So it's another little area I'll look at as we get towards the end of the season. But this year, how many midweek games do we have, Carm? I think there's 3. In the Bundesliga, I think, between now and the end of the season. So it's another factor you got to consider as you got a congested schedule. So take it week by week, game by game, and see how this shakes out.
Abel, nice of you, my friend. He had a nice win, and he says he's got some family members that need help financially, and he'll be helping them out. And let me tell you, we call that the Carm.
Hey, speaking of which, because even if I had a bad weekend, I still would have done this. Not to toot my own horn, but
baby.
But listen,
Rick, that was not a sex reference.
If anyone, it's not. But if anyone is in the position that you can help out your local nurses and hospitals and stuff, a lot of the food places and like we'll call them like the franchise places have in place discounts that they will give you to frontline workers. So the hospital up here, we have 3 of them in close proximity. I'm sending them. I've already put in the order 40. Because I'm Italian. 40 panzerottis. So they're getting 40 calzones.
Did you send one to me? I feel like I'm a bit of a frontline worker.
I'm sending 40 of them. I'm sure that they'll probably tweet something out or whatever on Twitter. I'll just retweet or whatever. But along with drinks and food, because nurses are they're frontline, and they just they're so unappreciated people that we need to show them the love that they deserve and stuff.
Well,
with that said, I want to add one more thing. With Bundesliga, there's no celebrations for goals, so you actually have players who are talking about how they're going to celebrate. So it remains to be seen. I'm going to guess it's some NFL type celebration in the touchdown when there's a touchdown where they're still not in a group, but rapid fire. Who knows how they're going to do it? But I'm looking forward to it because both in the U.S. and here in Canada, they are going to be showing sports channel is going to be showing the Bundesliga.
Yep.
So it's not just one game, the game of the week. You're going to see a lot of games on Saturday, a lot of games on Sunday. TSN, Sportsnet up here are showing pretty much every single game. So it's going to be awesome to watch.
Yeah, that is for sure. And, that's one of the sort of side effects on what's going on in the world is that, all of a sudden people know Nicaraguan soccer, in a month they're going to be addicted to the Bunda. Nick, you're 52-27 in your last 79 soccer bets. That is just ridiculous. Congratulations, 6-1 on Sunday. We got a special up at sportsmemo.com. Use the promo code SOC99. That's SOC99. It's $99 for 30 days of Nick Borrman soccer plays, and that seems like a steal to me, brother. 30 days, you're just so good at the sport. So let's hope a bunch of our listeners, viewers, watchers will pick that up. Let's get into some free picks, Nick. We're going to start with you. By the way, Carm, Dave Chan called you a rock star. And Dave,
you,
and Sophia, and I don't know who you are. I haven't seen your name. Welcome to the show, my friend. Welcome to the Wagertalk family. Nick, so you know, Karma's been doing this for a month. I mean, these aren't the first 40 Panzeratos going out. This guy has literally spent a ton sending stuff to the front line and just taking, really, I mean, somewhat anonymously. He's not allowed to show up and get the accolades, et cetera, So hats off to Carm. Nick, free pick for us, please.
Yeah, kudos to you, Carm. Gold in your heart, brother. Free play this weekend on Saturday. We have Mainz at Cologne. I'm going to take the over. It's at split line 2.5, 3 right now. Cologne was one of those teams before the break that I thought was just playing exceptional. They were 5-3 on the record. Their 3 losses, though, were against Dortmund, Bayern, and Gladbach, which are the best teams in the league. But otherwise, the results were 3-1 over Wolfsburg, 4-0 over Freiburg, 5-0.
Impressive.
5-0 for Hertha Berlin, 3-0 over Schalke, and 2-1 over Paderborn. I mean, they were just scoring and playing at will. All 8 of those games between the holiday break and when the shutdown happened, they finished over the total. So they were scoring, and they looked like one of the better teams that was out there, honestly, besides, of course, like a Bayern and a Dortmund, but they were really rolling. So they're one team that probably did not want to see this break happen more than anybody else. But I like the over in this game. They on the season, they have a 18-7 over-under record against this number. And they were averaging 3.4 goals per game. And then Mainz actually had a 19-6 over-under mark. So there's a little value off the table at the split line instead of a straight 2.5. But there's no way they could put this line at 2.5. And honestly, I think it'll probably hit 3. Actually, I think it was at 3 and came down a little bit. But I think it'll go back to 3 before we see this kickoff. Mainz has allowed the most shots on goal in the league, over a full goal more than the league average, and over a goal and a half more on the road. So defensively, the numbers are there that they just cannot stop anybody. And against a Cologne who was playing really well and scoring goals basically at will, I think we'll see a lot of chances on their side. Freiburg also won the reverse fixture 3-1 at home, so nice little revenge spot for Cologne at home here. The one thing I think with the break that kind of stinks is, soccer is definitely an ebb and flow type of a sport, and teams get into grooves and confidence builds. So I say all these things with a grain of salt that, the streaks were there, the overs were there, Cologne was scoring, but now you just took 2 months off. So we're hoping that those trends continue, but do keep that with a grain of salt and remember that little break, so maybe keep it a little lighter. But I like the over Mainz, Cologne, Saturday morning.
Thank you, Nick Borrman. You can find him at Sports Memo. Use the promo code SOC99. You get a month of his soccer picks for $99. Andrew McGinnis, we love having you on here. Ryan O'Neill, welcome. David Tabati, my Israeli brother. I read your comment. I agree. It's a strategy I use in all in-game betting. Great stuff. Carmine Bianco, give us a free pick, would you?
Yeah, I'm just going to touch on one thing real quick and then echo what Nick had said as well, too. But we are dealing with, obviously, this was about 2 months where soccer has stopped. So you always look at, are these teams match fit? I believe they are. These guys are working at home. They're working on the field. Germany is also the one league in Europe that takes the biggest winter break. They're literally off 28 days from the 22nd of December to the 18th of January. And then these teams come back and they'll play a friendly, but it's back to full bore run-on soccer type thing. So I'm not as concerned about the first games back, but as Nick said, it's the ebb and flow thing. These teams were on a roll, and then they're off for 2 months, and the data that we have is the data that we're using. We do the homework, so we'll continue to do the homework after this weekend's games, after next weekend's and midweek games, and we'll readjust our opinions based on it. So, the opinions we give now may not be the opinions we have on our show 2 weeks from now, because we've now got more data. We've seen games. We've seen the way teams are playing it out. With that said, I am going to go to an over. This is on Sunday. It's the Union Berlin Bayern Munich game. The total in that game is 3.5. So it's 3.25. I expect Bayern Munich to top of the league. They don't have to worry about Champions League right now. None of these teams have to worry about midweek Champions League games. They're pretty much into the quarterfinals because they beat Chelsea 3-0, and Champions League will only return, if it does return, when the Bundesliga season is over. So these teams don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about resting players. So you're going to see the full teams out there. They're 9-3 on the road when the total is 3.5. They're averaging 4.2 goals per game, scoring in those games. And Union Berlin, having been promoted last season, they're one of the surprises of the league. They're scoring goals. They're sitting with 30 points, and I talked about how I would think probably about 32 points this year saves you. So they're pretty much safe from they're safe from relegation. Not pretty much. They are safe from relegation, and they're actually thinking about promotion. They've got a shot at that last Europa League spot in 6th. Lewandowski returns. He's one of the guys who benefited, if you can call it benefiting, from COVID, because he was injured before these teams went on break. He's now match fit after the injury, and he'll be in the lineup. So I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited to see our Canadian who's on that team as well.
Anthony Davis, right? Davies.
Yeah. Davies. He was a Vancouver Whitecap before he was sold to Bayern Munich.
Nothing like selling a person.
Yeah, it's what it is. But listen, it happens all the time in football. So to use that phrase, it happens. It's great to see him over there playing in a top league as a Canadian. And it'll only help our national program.
No, it's going to be huge up in Canada. It's going to be the talk of the town for the next little while. Any competitors listening to us, we're prepared to sell Carmine Bianco. We want $1 million. So you can have Carmine Bianco for $1 million. We're also happy to sell Nick Borrman. You can have him for $10,000.
Whoa!
Wow!
Whoa! What's that about? Come on! I was gonna say Carm was underpriced at $1 million, $10,000.
I'm the Prez. You're watching Stoppage Time. Let's get to the European update and call it a show. Before we do, we got UFC fights tonight. Guys, I had a monster night on Saturday night betting the UFC, although Carm and I had a lot of fun with the parlays. Carm, we took a parlay.
Nick, I sent...
It was $5, paid $13,000, right? Did we win any of them?
Listen, no, we won.
Like they were all done in the first bout, right?
Yeah. we were betting the fights individually and obviously winning those, but we were doing these dumbass small little multi-thing parlays where we took like 5 fights and each fight to end in a TKO
in the second round at the 2-minute mark plus 70 million.
Yeah.
We bet $5 or so to win 13,000. We were so excited, Nick. But in my real bets, I did really well. And guys, I am betting the UFC tonight. I have 2 free picks for you guys. So I know it's not soccer, but these are bets that I am personally making. We've lost a lot of value on Marvin Vettori. I was able to get him in at minus 160. It's now minus 200. I still think it's a good bet, and I do like Ricky Simon at minus 160, 70. And I actually don't have a problem if you guys parlay that as well. I see Andrew likes Ricky Simon too. So I'm betting Vittori and Simon, and I am going to parlay the two of them together. Also, shout out to Liam. Nice to see you. Same with you, Ryan O'Neill, who is getting fat on your recipes, Carm.
I love it.
Are you putting any more
Ryan.
up? Oh, the Vittori fight is scratched. And there goes that. I didn't look this morning.
No, I didn't know that as well either. Okay, well, I'll have to check my wagers. I am doing, the video will be up by Friday. I'm doing homemade gnocchi. And making some extras, Lawrence, because I know your daughter.
We want him, and she's moving in with me on Friday, so we 100% want that gnocchi, and also a nice rosé sauce would be good.
I think you can find that at your local grocery store. So best of luck.
I can also find gnocchi at my local grocery store.
You want to know why? You want to know why? I'm not doing any sauce because I'm cooking my gnocchi in a brown butter sauce.
Okay.
Absolutely love it.
Well, I want that, dude. So can you give me some extra brown butter sauce on the side?
No, but you can actually make it
Okay,
at home.
I'll make it at home. Let's move on. Guys, make sure to check out the 2 p.m. show. Andy Lang joining us today. We're going to be talking NASCAR, and I'll tell you, it's going to be a treat because I've never made a NASCAR bet. I couldn't name you 5 NASCAR drivers. But this guy knows his stuff. He wins all the time in this sport. I'm very excited about the show, and I'm going to learn a ton. It's going to be an interesting hosting opportunity for me because it's in a sport I really know nothing about. Carmine Bianco, take us home. Give us the rundown on European soccer all over.
Okay, I am going to give you, I'll make it quick. Before I do that, Lawrence, I want to thank you, Rick Alec, Marco, Johnny Detroit, the owners of Wagertalk, because back in December, I'm going to make this quick. Back in December, I sent Johnny a message and I asked him about donating all of Wagertalk's sales on my soccer picks along with my commission to charity. And Johnny said to me, no need to ask everybody. It's a yes. Go ahead and do it. So
you're
thanks, Johnny.
thanking us for allowing you to donate all your money to charity. Okay.
And yours. Wagertalk's commission off my sales.
And that's even more than your money. So, wow. Didn't
Yeah.
even know that.
Yeah.
Way to go, Johnny. We are such a good group of people, Carm. I mean, come on,
All
dude.
right.
We got Nick hitting people in the back of their shoulder blades with golf balls. You donating Panzerottis to nurses. Nick hitting people in the back of their calves with golf balls. You donating money to charity. Nick wanting to know why we only sell them for $10,000. You for $1 million. Nick hitting people with golf balls. You donating money to charity. Is there a theme here,
Okay.
Nick?
I don't hear anything. No, I'm not sure what you're getting at.
We're great.
Carm,
Okay,
European rundown, and we got to call it a show.
Germany starts this weekend. Denmark, the 28th, restarting their season. Italy, Spain, still on course for June the 12th, restarting their season. England still has a slew of meetings next week. Each meeting to discuss something different, whether it's doctors, medical testing, and then restarting. But I think they're still on course to restart the season June 12th, if all the teams can agree on how to restart the season as far as neutral stadiums. That's the vote that means the most, whether they can agree on it. If they don't, we're in a bit of trouble there.
Okay, there we go. That's the show, boys. Stoppage time in the bag. We'll meet back in 13 minutes to talk NASCAR. And don't forget, one of our most popular shows every week, VR, Gianni, Minty, and Kelly, straight from the strip. They're going to be doing a deep dive into the UFC card. And, of course, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, Minty and Kyle Anthony, who won again Saturday. My God. Talking UFC as well. Carmen, Nick, we'll see you on Friday for another episode of Stoppage Time. Kevin Dolan will be joining us. Thank you guys both for a really fun show. I learned so much listening to the two of you. Guys, make sure to use Nick's promo code SOC, SOC99, 30 days of all of his soccer plays for $99, and he is just absolutely on fire. A pleasure, everyone. We'll see you back here in 12 minutes.